As China has been getting closer and closer to Taiwan, one thing is clear: the fate of Taiwan is in the hands of U.S. President Joe Biden. Will he handle the situation by defending Taiwan against China's aggression? China has always been claiming the island country as its own, and in recent years has been increasing its military presence in the region. The future of Taiwan hangs in the balance as two of the world's most powerful leaders face off, Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, with tensions between the United States and China at an all-time high. The question on everyone's mind is whether or not President Biden will take a stand and defend Taiwan against China's increasingly aggressive tactics. China and Taiwan both claim their sovereignty over the island, making the Taiwan Strait a geopolitical hotspot for decades. Although the United States does not formally recognize Taiwan as an independent country, it has long been a strong supporter of the democracy on the island and has also given Taiwan military and economic assistance. On September 18, 2022, U.S. President Joe Biden made his most direct comment to yet on the subject, stating that American soldiers would protect Taiwan in the case of a Chinese invasion. China was furious by this speech, claiming that it conveyed the incorrect message to those who wanted an independent Taiwan. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, however, China has become increasingly aggressive in its pursuit of reunification with Taiwan, and tensions between China and the United States have reached new heights in recent years. Xi has made it clear that he believes Taiwan is a part of China and has vowed to use force if necessary to bring the island under Beijing's control. For its part, Taiwan has remained resolute in its determination to maintain its independence and has bolstered its military capabilities in recent years to prepare for a possible attack from China. The island's leaders have also sought to deepen ties with the United States and other democratic nations in hopes of shoring up support in the event of a conflict with China. Now, with Joe Biden in the White House, the world is watching to see how the United States will respond to China's growing aggression in the region. So far, Biden's approach to Taiwan has been cautious but firm, with the administration taking a number of steps to signal its support for the island. When Biden has confirmed that American troops would defend the island in the event of a Chinese invasion, Taiwan's foreign ministry thanked Biden for confirming the U.S. government's rock-solid security commitment to Taiwan. Taiwan stated in a statement that it will keep enhancing its weaponry for self-defense and enhance its strong security collaboration with the United States. Also, Biden reinforced that the United States was still committed to the One China policy, according to which Beijing is officially recognized as the capital of China. He also emphasized that Washington was not advocating for Taiwan's independence. Biden's words are sure to anger Beijing, which was enraged by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan in August 2022. One of the most significant moves came in March, when Biden sent a delegation of high-level officials to Taiwan, including former Senator Chris Dodd and former Deputy Secretaries of State Richard Armitage and James Steinberg. This was the first time in decades that the United States had sent such a high-level delegation to Taiwan, and it was seen as a clear signal of support for the island. Biden has also continued to sell weapons to Taiwan, despite China's protests. In April, the United States approved a $750 million arms sale to Taiwan, including 40 self-propelled howitzers and 1,700 kits to convert artillery shells into GPS-guided weapons. This move drew a sharp rebuke from China, which accused the United States of interfering in its internal affairs. Chinese President Xi Jinping has made it clear that his ultimate goal is to bring Taiwan under Beijing's control, even if it means using force. However, Taiwan has remained committed in its objection to China's sovereignty claims. Despite this, there has been no response from China's embassy in Washington on this matter. This silence has only added to the uncertainty surrounding the conflict, leaving many wondering what steps China might take in response to Biden's commitment to defend Taiwan. Taiwan is only around 110 miles from China's shore. The two sides have been administered independently for more than 70 years, but that hasn't prevented China's governing Communist Party from claiming the island as its own without never having ruled it. As we saw earlier, Chinese President Xi Jinping asserting that the reunification of China and Taiwan is inevitable, even hinting at the use of force. Meanwhile, in response to a question about U.S. forces defending Taiwan, President Biden replied, "Yes, if in fact there was an unpredicted attack." This statement has raised concerns and speculations about potential changes to the U.S.-Taiwan policy. However, some analysts have noted that Biden's choice of words was not entirely clear and offered room for interpretation. Regardless, the situation is a delicate one, and if the U.S. does plan to defend Taiwan, it needs to make sure it has the military capability to do so. As former U.S. Defense Department official Drew Thompson said, the specific nature of any U.S. defense doesn't necessarily mean American boots on the ground in Taiwan. As tensions rise between China and Taiwan, the possibility of a Chinese invasion looms large, especially in light of Russia's recent attack on Ukraine. Many experts believe that Beijing is closely monitoring the situation and may draw lessons from it to inform their strategy towards Taiwan. The U.S. intelligence community has expressed concern that China is actively building a military capable of taking over Taiwan, even in the face of U.S. support for the island. CIA Deputy Director David Cohen has warned that China's President Xi Jinping wants the People's Liberation Army to have the capability to take control of Taiwan by force by 2027. While the U.S. intelligence community does not believe that Beijing has made a decision on whether or not to invade, so far, Biden's approach to Taiwan has been largely in line with that of his former U.S. President Donald Trump, but the situation is growing increasingly tense. China has continued to fly military planes near Taiwan and has stepped up its military drills in the region, while the United States has sent warships through the Taiwan Strait as a show of force. The risk of conflict between China and Taiwan is higher now than it has been in years, and the stakes are enormous. Taiwan is a major producer of semiconductors and other high-tech components, and a conflict in the region could have severe economic effects. It could also draw other nations into the conflict, potentially leading to a wider war. At the same time, the United States has a strategic interest in maintaining stability in the region and ensuring that Taiwan remains a free and democratic nation. China's aggression in the South China Sea and elsewhere has raised concerns among U.S. allies, and the United States is keen to demonstrate that it will not allow China to bully its neighbors. For Biden, the challenge will be to navigate this complex and potentially explosive situation without triggering a conflict. China has been working to isolate Taiwan diplomatically by pressuring other countries to cut off official diplomatic relations with Taiwan. This limits Taiwan's ability to have a voice in international forums and receive support from other countries. But the U.S. can work with its allies and partners in the region, such as Japan, South Korea, and Australia, to coordinate their policies towards Taiwan and ensure that Taiwan is not isolated diplomatically. These countries share a common interest in maintaining stability in the region and may be willing to support Taiwan in various ways. The administration will need to balance its support for Taiwan with its desire to maintain cordial relations with China, a delicate balancing act that will require careful diplomacy and strategic thinking. Ultimately, the fate of Taiwan will depend on a number of factors, including the strength of Taiwan's military, the resolve of its leaders, and the willingness of the United States to defend the island. China's plans for reunification with Taiwan may be ambitious, but they are also fraught with risk. A military conflict with Taiwan could have disastrous consequences for China's economy. U.S. has made it clear that it will continue to provide defensive support to Taiwan, which has been a point of tension with China. Ultimately, the U.S. position on Taiwan will depend on a range of factors, including the actions of China, developments in the Taiwan Strait, and the broader geopolitical landscape. It is difficult to predict what will happen in the future, but it is likely that the Biden administration will seek to balance its relationship with China while also protecting the interests of its allies in the region, including Taiwan, Tycoon territory.